Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Mataji. Welcome for this Bhagavad Gita session. Today we'll be discussing 14.3 Bhagavad Gita. जगन्नाथ बलदेव माई की जय, नरसिंह भगवान की जय, पंचतत्व की जय, षड गोस्वामी की जय, गुरु परंपरा की जय, श्री गोपाल की, श्री गुरुदेव की, हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Chapter 14, three modes of material nature. 14.3. मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं दधाम्यहम् सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत। मम योनिर्महद् ब्रह्म तस्मिन् गर्भं दधाम्यहम् सम्भवः सर्वभूतानां ततो भवति भारत. Translation by Divine Shilpa teacher. The total material substance called Brahman is the source of birth, and it is that Brahman that I impregnate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Bharata. So this chapter, actually we just started this 14th chapter. So in the 13th chapter, it explains how the living entities, that is Purusha, is entangled in the Prakriti, that is external energy. Why? Due to his desire for enjoyment. Okay. That was in the 13th chapter. Now, 14th chapter, it explains how the material energy binds the soul through the three modes of material nature. And as it has been indicated in, especially in 13th chapter, 22nd verse. So the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, which is given in 13.22, will now be expanded in this chapter. So the key verse connecting 13th and 14th chapter is 13.22. So what is this 13.22? So just read out the purport which Prabhupada gives, very easily understandable. So the 13.22 Bhagavad Gita purport, Prabhupada says this verse is very important for an understanding of how the living entities transmigrate from one body to another. So it is explained in the second chapter that the living entity is transmigrating from one body to another just as one changes the dress. So this change of dress is due to his attachment to material existence. So as long as he is captivated by this false manifestation, no, he has to continue transmigrating from one body to another. And due to his desire to lord it over material nature, he is put into such undesirable circumstances. So Prabhupada says, under the influence of material desire, the entity is born sometimes as a demigod, sometimes as a man, sometimes as a beast, sometimes as a bird, as a worm, as an aquatic, as a saintly man, as a bug. So this is going on. And in all cases, the living entity thinks himself to be the master of his circumstances. Yet he is under the influence of material nature. So, how he is put into such different bodies is explained in this 13.22. He says it is due to association with the different modes of nature. Goodness, passion, ignorance. So one has to rise above these three material modes and become situated in the transcendental position. That is called Krishna consciousness. Unless one is situated in Krishna consciousness, his material consciousness will oblige him to transfer from one body to another because he has material desires. Not now, since time immemorial. But he has to change that conception. And that change can be effected only by hearing from authoritative sources. So Prabhupada gives the best example is Arjuna is hearing the signs of God from Krishna. The living entity, if he submits to this hearing process, he will lose his long cherished desire to dominate material nature. And gradually and proportionately, as he reduces his long desire to dominate, he comes to enjoy spiritual happiness. That's why in the 14.1 to 4, these four verses, the liberation and conditioning of living entities is being given. So Krishna, he glorifies the knowledge that he will speak now, the 14th chapter. He says, Krishna is telling, by me, that is by him, the Supreme Lord, the material energy is impregnated with the living entities. So it's very important to understand. So understanding the conditioning of the three modes is a very powerful tool to assist on the path of self-realization. That's why in the first verse of this chapter, 14th chapter, Prabhupada says in the purport, from the 7th chapter to the end of the 12th chapter, 7 to 12, Krishna in detail, he reveals the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead. Now the Lord himself is further enlightening Arjuna. See, in the 13th chapter, it was clearly explained that by developing the knowledge, one may possibly be freed from material entanglement. And it has also been explained that it is due to association with modes of nature that the living entity is entangled in this material world. Now, in this chapter, 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains what those modes of nature are, how they act, how they bind, and how they give liberation. So the knowledge explained in this chapter is proclaimed by the Supreme Lord to be superior to the knowledge given so far in other chapters. So, but and another important, very encouraging statement, he says, by understanding this knowledge, various great sages attain perfection and transferred to the spiritual world. So the Lord now explains the same knowledge in a better way. So this knowledge is far, far superior to all other processes of knowledge thus far explained. And Prabhupada says, and knowing this, many attain perfection. So thus, he says, it is expected that one who understands this 14th chapter will attain perfection. Those who understand this 14th chapter, he will attain perfection. So it's very important for us to go through this full chapter very detailed way. So it all is connected from 13.22, right? That verse which I read. So we read that transpection body from one body to another, then why it is happening and all. That will be given more superior knowledge is being given in the 14th chapter. So see, this verse explains how the soul comes into the material world and is placed within the modes of material nature. Material nature is the mother and supplying living entity with the body. So the Lord, he puts him there by his potent glance and thus impregnates the material nature with the seed. So the total material substance, no, called Brahman, is the source of birth. So the Lord, no, he impregnates that Brahman with living entities. See, the Mahat Tattva is the total cause of the total cosmic manifestation. So very, very important part of the manifestation of the world is created, right? How he creates. So in Bhagavatam is very nicely is given. So the Lord impregnates with living entities. See, Rupa gives an analogy in this purport. Yeah, it's an analogy of the scorpion. It lays its eggs in piles of rice. Okay, the scorpion, it lays its eggs in piles of rice. And sometimes it is said that the scorpion is born out of rice. But the rice is not the cause of the scorpion. Understood? Actually, the eggs were laid by the mother. In this, so similarly, material nature is not the cause of the birth of living entities. The seed is given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they only seem to come out as products of material nature. Seen. Right? So thus every living entity, according to his past activities, has a different body created by the material nature. So that the entity can enjoy or suffer according to his past deeds. So the Lord is the cause of all the manifestations of living entities in this material world. So this verse is an explanation of the world. Everything that takes place is due to the combination of Kshetra and Kshetragya. Kshetra is the body and Kshetragya is the spirit soul. So it says the combination of material nature and the living entity is made possible by the Supreme God Himself. That's why Mahat Tattva is the 24 elements, right? Which is so the Supreme Person impregnates that Brahman with the seeds of the living entities. So the 24 elements, like beginning from earth, water, fire, air, all they are all material energy. And they constitute what is called Mahat Brahma or Great Brahman. That is a material nature. So as explained in the 7th chapter, no, beyond this, there is another. Krishna says, beyond this energy, there is another superior nature. That is the living entity. So into material nature, the superior nature is mixed by the will of the Supreme Personality of God. And thereafter, all living entities are born of this material nature. That's why the example of scorpion, which lays, actually scorpion laying his eggs in the piles of rice. But it's not the rice, because of the rice is giving the birth. No. Correct. Similarly, the impregnation of the seed is given by the Supreme Personality of God. And the material nature mother. Through that, the living entities are born. So very nice to understand. More and more lessons can be learned from this chapter. But we'll close here. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur. Primanandaya. Vancha Kalpatarupicha. Kripa Sindhu Bhaiye Vacha. Patitanam Pavane Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Purushottam
Krishna.
ki jai.